Hello and welcome. My name is Iris. I'm very excited to tell you that you have come across the very first ever Iris Yoga online YouTube yoga practice. So this video has been a long time in the making. Imagine, if you will, a baby bird ready to fledge the nest. There's a great deal of bouncing and decision making to get up out of the nest to the edge. It's a scary endeavor, baby birds leaving the only world it's ever known, safety, protection from parents, food. But there's a drive for baby bird to go out and forge its own way in the world. So after hop, 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 hopping, getting to the edge, then there comes more bouncing, hopping and flapping, bouncing, hopping and flapping, bouncing, hopping and flapping, until finally the mechanics of the physical movement matched by the drive to go out into the unknown for survival meet, and that meeting means taking flight. So today is my day that I take flight. For several months now, you've been requesting online videos so that we can practice together even when we can't be together. I am leaving the comfort right now of my weekly public yoga classes, where I get to interact with all the students on a one-on-one basis, into this digital world, which is very new for me. And this space is part of the unknown. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all of the encouragement. I want to thank you for helping me spread my wings. Namaste Yogis. Okay, so for the practice, things you might need. Yoga blocks. You might not necessarily use them for every single practice, but they're extremely versatile. They have so many different applications. You can put them under your bottom. You can put them under your feet for balance. You can put them under your hands for balance. You can use them to actually deepen into stretches. That's a misconception that this is some sort of a tool that would indicate any type of weakness. No, these things are great, and they can really help you explore have a more in-depth exploration of your practice. So if you don't have yoga blocks, you can use a rolled up blanket, a rolled up towel, maybe a large book. Again, if you don't have a block handy, you don't necessarily have to have it for practice, but I always recommend it. So today we are going to be doing a flow yoga series, meaning that each series will be punctuated by a vinyasa flow. Our vinyasa flow is to come from some sort of a forward-facing or prone position, box, modified plank. Bending elbows, lowering down, holding halfway, maybe coming all the way down to the belly. There is a belly forward back bend as there is a lift in the chest, followed by a down dog. So if at any point in the practice you feel you need to conserve your energy for other things, you can skip the vinyasa, you can skip all of the vinyasas. Maybe you hold space in your downward facing dog, or maybe you hold space in your child's pose. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Let's get started with some grounding breathing, coming to our backs. I'm going to set my blocks towards the top of my mat so that they will be handy when we get started. Rolling down. Let the back of the head come to the earth. Let the shoulders come to the earth. You can leave your legs long. Get a little space between your heels. Allow the toes to fall out. Maybe you keep bent knees like I have here. Scoot the edges of your feet towards the edges of your mat. Then allow the knees to knock in. You can adjust your feet in or out from there. This is a nice supportive grounding posture. You can also take your Supta Baddha Konasana. Some people really love to bring the soles of the feet together in the beginning of the practice. We'll let the knees come wide. You could roll up a couple of blankets to put underneath the knees or the thighs, or maybe even utilize those blocks if this feels a little too stretchy here through the inner groin. The arms can be on the body somewhere, maybe a hand on the belly, a hand on the heart, maybe both hands on the belly. Perhaps your arms are by side body with the palms facing up. Close the eyes. Let's take a couple of big, deep breaths. Inhale. Pause here at the top. And then a slow exhale through the mouth. Take that again. A big inhale through the nose. Pause. And exhale through the mouth. If your arms are by side body, maybe you find that they've gotten a little longer now. Another inhale. This time on the exhale, we'll exhale through the nose, keeping the lips gently sealed. See if you can make your exhale last longer than your inhale. Take that again, yogi's own pace. Big, deep inhales through the nose. Explore the pause. Make that moment for grace. And exhale through the nose, seeing if you can draw the exhale out as long as you possibly can, using as much control as you possibly can. On the next inhale, we'll leave the legs where they are, however you have them, but we'll send the arms back, reaching towards the back of the mat, back of the room. Perhaps you feel your low back arch up off of the earth. And on the next exhale, we'll draw the knees together. Use your hands to help if that feels good for you. And then we'll draw the thighs into the belly, knees towards the chest, as you give yourself a nice hug. Give a good squeeze, drawing the knees up towards the collarbones. Maybe your heels are lifting away from your hips. And on the next exhale, allow the knees to fall gently towards one side of the body. As you take your gaze away from the knees, drop your chin in the opposite direction. Inhale, come through center. And on the exhale, we'll take it to the opposite side. Continue here. Just a few rounds, really enjoying the massage across the back. Enjoy the massage across the back of the skull. Come back to center. Keep your right knee hugged into the body as you lower the sole of the left foot to the earth. The knee is bent. Interlace your fingers in front of your right shin. Draw the knee up towards the right armpit. You can even shift your thigh outside of the rib cage. Get that wide. Pull it up, deep bend in the elbows, and we'll start to circle out the ankle. Maybe take this in the opposite direction. Coming back to center, extend the left leg forward. The heel can find the earth, or maybe some of us are going to hover just an inch or so. If you're hovering, try not to let your toes fall out to the left. Try to keep your foot perpendicular to the floor and the ceiling. Now rebend the left knee, bring the sole of the foot back down to the earth. Send your right leg up to the ceiling now. Interlace your fingers somewhere along the back of the leg. You can be very low below the belly of the hamstring, anywhere moving up the leg all the way up towards the ankle if that feels right for you. Let your foot be soft at the top. Allow the elbows to bend slightly as you draw the leg back towards the body. Notice if the back of the head has started to move towards the shoulders. If it has, let's pull the, chin back down towards the chest. Now start to flex the top toes back towards the face as you push out through your heel. Maybe a little more bend in the elbow. Perhaps the leg gets a little bit straighter, holding here and breathing, keeping the face nice and soft for 3, 2, and 1. Release the leg. We'll cross the top ankle over the bottom bent knee, coming into a figure 4. Your left hand comes to your left hip point. The right hand comes to the right inner thigh. You're going to start to push the knee away from the body. Keep the connection with your bottom foot to the earth. And if you feel your left glute start to lift, it's your left hand on your left hip point that will anchor that back down to the earth. Close your eyes. Keep your figure 4 as you release the hands. The right hand comes through the figure 4 window. The left hand starts to work its way around. As you lift your bottom foot, perhaps you catch behind the thigh. Some of us might catch in front of the shin, just below the knee, as you interlace your fingers. Inhale, find a little length in the torso, and on the exhale, bend your elbows as you draw your legs back towards your body. Reclined pigeon pose. Big deep breath. As you sigh, maybe you squeeze the legs in a little tighter. Keep your figure 4 legs as you release your hand bind. Allow the sole of the left foot to come down to the earth. We'll bring the arms wide to a T, the palms face down. Exhale, drop your legs to the left. Maybe the sole of the right foot comes down to a block or to the earth. You can take your gaze out over the right fingers. If this feels like the stretch is just too intense, you can unravel your legs, take your spinal release by stacking your knees. We're working on Satya this week, our practice of truth. And sometimes our bodies will try to tell us little fibs. They'll send smoke signals to us when there's no fire, there's no pain, there's no damage, there's just discomfort. And we should learn to get okay with being uncomfortable. Next inhale, we'll start to unravel the legs. Bring the thighs back into the chest. Give yourself a hug. Let's keep the big toes touching. Hands come on top of the knees. Exhale, draw the thighs back towards the body. Inhale, keep the big toes touching as your knees move out and away from each other in a circular motion. Exhale, draw the legs back. Inhale, knees come out and around. Let's switch directions. Now we inhale, the knees are coming towards each other as they part at their furthest point. Exhale, draw the wide knees back towards the body. Inhale, knees go out and around. Exhale, come back to center. Lower the sole of the right foot to the earth. Interlace your fingers in front of your left knee, left shin. Let's start to roll out the left ankle. Take this in the opposite direction. Come back to center. Push your right foot forward. Heel finds the earth or hovers. Remember, if you're hovering, not to let the toes fall out to the side. Keep them perpendicular. Draw the foot back in. Inhale, send your left leg high. Interlace your fingers somewhere along the back of the leg. It doesn't matter where. Soft foot at the top. Slight bend to the elbows as you draw the leg back towards the body. Always start to flex the toes towards the face as you push out through the heel. The leg might start to get a little bit straighter. Bending the elbows more deeply, the leg comes closer to the body. You can stay here. Extend that right leg forward again, heel down or hovering. Breathe. Lower your right heel as you rebend your left knee. Interlace fingers in front of the shin and draw the knee up towards the armpit. Shift your thigh outside the rib cage. Give it a really good squeeze here. And we'll bring the right foot in, sole comes down. Let's cross the left ankle over the right knee. Right hand finds the right hip point. Left hand finds the inner thigh. As you start to push the knee away, anchor your right hip to the earth with your right hand. Keep your figure four legs as you release the hands. Left hand comes through the window, coming around to catch behind the thigh, interlacing with the right fingers or in front of the shin. Bend your elbows, start to draw the legs back towards the body, reclined pigeon. Release your hand bind, keep the legs, allow the sole of the right foot to return to the earth, arms come out to a T, palms face down. Exhale, drop your legs to the right, sole of the left foot finds a block or finds the earth. If you get here and this feels like it's too much on the left hip, simply unravel the legs, stacking the bent knees, taking your gaze over the left hands, spinal release. Inhale, we'll start to draw everything back towards the center as you unravel the legs, squeeze the knees, give yourself a hug, lift the back of the head off of the earth, draw your forehead towards the knees. Try to get in a teeny little ball. And we'll relax the shoulders and head back down to the earth. We're going to take some forward, backward rock and rolls. Arms come by side body. Crow fingers find the earth. There's a tenting of your forearm from the elbow. Inhale, push into the hands as you take your toes back. They could touch the floor, they don't have to. And on the exhale, we'll use a little momentum and a lot of core to come forward. Maybe you bring soles of the feet together as you reach prayer hands towards the front of the mat. Inhale, we'll roll this back down. You can use your hands along the side of the body to help, or maybe you take your prayer hands back overhead. If your toes come to the earth, maybe consider putting your toenails down. Exhale, let's come forward. Baddha Konasana. And one more time. Inhale, send this back roll. And exhale, come forward. This time we'll allow the hands to catch the feet or maybe in front of the shins. Bend your elbows, pull your chest up, sitting up nice and tall. On the exhale, maybe you catch the front of the toes or you keep your hands on the front of the shins as you start to bring your collarbones forward first. The elbows can come in front of the shins. Take an inhale, find some length, and on the exhale, maybe you fold this a little bit deeper. Your blocks are at the front of your mat. You might consider taking one of your blocks, placing it on top of your feet as you drop the forehead down and find a nice supportive restorative posture. On the next inhale, let's start to bring this up. You can take your block, set that off to the side. Rolling up nice and slowly. Let's shift the hands behind us. Bring your feet wide, and on the exhale, we'll windshield wiper the knees. Lose that tension that might have built up in the hips. And we'll make our way back to center. Let's meet in box pose, coming to all fours. Now, as you can see, I've got a little situation on my right elbow from an injury that I am recovering from. No, it wasn't from yoga, it was from a fall. So I have my hands a little bit wider than I might normally have them, and I also have this right hand forward so that I'm not directly on top of the elbow. You, however, barring any injuries, and assuming this is right for your anatomy, will do your best to bring your shoulders on top of your wrists, your hips on top of your knees. Tops of the feet can come down. We'll move into cat-cow flow. Inhale, allow your tailbone to come up as you push your belly to the earth. You'll bring the gaze forward and maybe up. Exhale, we'll start to round through the spine. Drop your tailbone, drop the crown of your head, push into your wide fingers. As we come into cat pose, Halloween cat, press your back up to the ceiling. Might feel nice to tuck your toes under here. Maybe shift back slightly, get a nice sole of the foot stretch. Couple of breaths here. And then inhale, we come back into our cow pose. Lifting, tailbone lifting gaze. Moving at your own pace, yogi, let's come through our cat-cow flow. Try not to rush it, please. Really enjoy the broadness of the movement. You're touching so many spaces in the body. Staying with your cat-cow flow, or if you're ready, on the next exhale, we'll drop the hips towards the heels. The crown of the head is dangling down. Perhaps your eyes are closed. As you inhale, come up and around in a circular motion over the top of your mat. Really take up some space here. Exhale, hips moving back to heels. You might continue going in this circle. You might start to find some sort of a figure 8 or other type of flowy movement. This is your moving meditation. But do try to take a few good solid circles in the opposite direction so that the body can feel nicely balanced after the end of practice. Catching all sides. Once you're complete here, we'll make our way back to center. You might check in with your form. Make sure to restack any joints that might have snuck out of line there. All right, inhale. Send your right leg back. You might have noticed a little shift of weight into your left hand. Look at your base leg. Your left hip should be right on top of your left knee. If it's swinging out to the left, let's bring that back in line. Maybe practice hovering your left palm off of the mat. That's going to help even up your hips a little bit. Hold here. Breathe. Next exhale, the left hand comes down as you step the right foot in between the hands. Now you might have to move your right hand out of the way to get the foot to the front. This is a wonderful place to utilize those blocks. Make your arms just a little bit longer. Curl up your toe in the back and reposition your knee. Send it a little bit further back. You don't want to be right on top, squaring off on top of the knee. That's not going to feel good. You want to roll through to the top if you can. You can always double up your mat underneath you, or maybe put a blanket or a towel underneath that back knee if it's causing you some grief right now. From here, hands on blocks or hands on the earth. You're in runner's lunge. Maybe you have crow fingers down, lifting and spreading the collarbones as you look forward. And on the exhale, we're going to root the left palm into the earth. The inhale brings the right hand up. Modified dragon twist. Take your gaze to the top hand if it's okay for the neck. Exhale, top hand comes down inside of the front foot. You might want to heel toe your right foot towards the right edge of the mat. Next exhale, we send the hips back, keeping them high over the back knee as you flex your front foot towards your face. You might need to walk your hands back here. You might still be utilizing those blocks. Gaze is neutral. Pull your right hip back. Pull your right pinky toes back. Now pull the arch towards you. Let's pulse this a couple of times. Inhale, come forward, left hand down, right arm opens into the twist. And exhale, hands come down, hips go back. Take that again. Inhale, sweeping forward. Exhale, taking it back. One more time. Inhale, sweep forward. Exhale, hand comes down, sweep the hips back. Stay here working your stretch behind the right leg, or you might walk your hands back. Let your hips find your back heel. Your front leg is still outside of your right hand. Pull back on the right hip, and for a little bit more, you'll walk the hands forward, lowering the torso inside of your front leg. Inhale. Let's start to bring this forward. Send the right hand up one more time. And exhale, hand comes down inside of the front foot. Once again, we curl up the back toe, lift the back knee. We're going to step the back foot forward outside of the left hand. So your feet are wide, maybe as wide as the edges of the mat. Take opposite elbows, bring the crown down, close your eyes, and sway this side to side, ragdoll. Come back to center. Release the hands. Let them be very long and heavy. Bend your knees quite a bit. As you inhale, we're going to roll this up one vertebra at a time. Shoulders, neck, and head are the last things to come up, and then we'll go ahead and take the hands up as well. Eyeballs follow. Exhale, we'll bring the right hand to the right leg, palm facing the leg. Exhale, reaching up and over, side stretch. Maybe take your gaze to the left bicep. Engage your legs by pulling the kneecaps up. Lift and spread your yogi toes. Maybe you leave them floating. Inhale, coming back to center. On the exhale, we'll take the other side. Left hand comes down, palm faces the body. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, over, taking your gaze to the right bicep. Keeping the legs engaged. Don't give up on me now. Keeping the toes lifted. Good. Inhale, coming back to center. On the exhale, we're going to interlace fingers behind the back. Push the fist down. Arms are getting as straight as they can. They don't have to be completely straight. You're still lifting in the front of the body as you pull the shoulder blades together. Chin comes up. And on the exhale, we're going to bend the knees a lot as we take this into our forward fold. Now your hands can stay here connected to the back, or they can start to push away, maybe lifting, coming up towards the ceiling and then over towards the front of the room. Crown of the head is heavy. Maybe your eyes are closed. Release your hands to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. On the exhale, we plant the hands, step your left foot back, followed by the right. You have options here, yogis. This is a full plank pose. If this is too much, you're going to lower the knees, come to a modified plank pose. So knees or toes. Eyes of the elbows are moving towards the front of the mat. There's an inner rotation of your biceps. Don't let your fingers splay out to the sides. You want to keep your index fingers parallel to each other. One more breath, press back through your heels. And on the exhale, knees, chest, and chin, or high to low push up. Maybe you bring it all the way down to the belly. Inhale, upward facing dog, a low cobra or a high cobra. You can always lower your knees here. Back bend. And exhale, knees down, hips back, child's pose. Hips come back to the heels. Now, child's pose is not super comfortable for everybody. And if you've got pain behind the knees, discomfort, you might consider rolling up, not too fat, not too thick, but putting a towel back here or your yoga blanket to keep some space in the joint That feels nice. You might bring some blocks back here behind your hips for some support. Your arms, hands can reach forward in an active stretch, planting the palms and maybe using the fingers to ever so slightly lengthen your arms. Or for a true rest, maybe you bring the arms back by side body. The tops of the hands find the mat. The palms are facing up. The forehead is to a block or it is to the mat. Perhaps you roll along your brow line from temple to temple, calming the nervous system, grounding and connecting with the energy. We'll make our way back to center. Squaring yourself off. Let's lift up into box on the next inhale. We'll do lion's breath at the top for our exhale. Stick your tongue out. Don't worry, nobody's watching you. You're watching me. Let's take that again. Inhale through the nose. Lion's breath. Let it go. One more for good measure. I love everything in threes. Inhale. Lion's breath. All right, back to center. Reestablish the box. Inhale, send your left leg back behind you. Take a look at your base leg. If your right hip is swinging out away from the being directly over the knee, let's pull that back in. And maybe you hover your right hand. That too will help engage the correct muscles we need to even out the hips. Breathe. You really don't need to worry about how high that back leg gets. We're more interested in what is happening from pelvic bone to pelvic bone and behind. One more breath. Exhale, allow your right hand to come to the earth as you step your left foot in between the hands. Maybe move your left hand, make a little bit of space. Very nice. Runner's lunge. Remember, blocks under the hands or crow fingers here, lifting the collarbones. We'll leave the right hand rooted to the earth as you inhale. Send the left hand up to the ceiling. Modified dragonfly twist. Take a look at your top hand. Notice your fingers. Are you up there like a wet fish, or are you directing energy with a nice intent hand? Exhale, top hand comes down inside of the front foot. You might heel toe the left foot out towards the left edge of the mat. Lifting your gaze on the exhale, we're going to send the hips back as we flex the front toes towards the face. The funky pyramid pose. Remember, you can have your blocks handy here. Inhale, come forward. Let's take the left hand into the air all the way up for the twist. And exhale, sweeping it back. Inhale. And exhale back. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, sweeping forward. And exhale, sweeping back. This is the one we're going to hold. So you stay right here. You can keep the hips high. You can walk the crow fingers forward, maybe get a little bit deeper into the stretch. Some of us are going to lower the hips to the back heel. Find a little lift in the front body, and on the exhale, you can crawl the hands forward as you lower to fold inside of your front leg. Inhale. Let's start to lift the hips as we come forward again. One more twist here. Right hand down. Left arm reaches. On the exhale, left hand comes down, curl up your back toe, lift your back knee. We're going to step your back foot forward outside of the right hand, so we've got wide feet again. We'll take ragdoll, revisiting that, taking opposite elbows. Can you take your awkward arm in front? The one that doesn't feel natural. I'm going to take this side to side. Coming back to center, release the hands. Arms are heavy. Inhale, rolling this up. Remember, when we get all the way to the top, we're going to keep it going with the hands coming all the way. Gaze meets the fingers at the top. And on the exhale, we allow the right hand to come down the right leg, palm facing. Let's shift the hand behind the thigh. Lift and spread yogi toes. Push your knees back as you lift and engage the quads. Push your hips forward. Now take your gaze up towards the top hand. Keep all of that energy in your legs, in the front body. And on the next exhale, we'll start to reach up, out, and back for the back bend. Now, I'm going fairly deep because I've been practicing this for a while. Your back bend may look like this, and that is quite enough for you today. Be where you are. Be proud of the body. Be proud of the breath for all these beautiful postures, no matter what they look like. Inhale, we'll bring this back up to center. Right hand comes high. Exhale, left hand comes down the leg. Palm facing in. Let's move that hand to the back of the thigh. Keep the engagement in the front body. Keep those kneecaps lifting. Keep the quads in, pulling up, just like steel. Push the hips forward. Take your gaze towards the top hand. Lift up and out. Don't just fall back. Inhale, we'll bring this back to center. Good job, yogis. Both hands high. Exhale, interlace fingers behind the back. Again, can you bring your awkward hand in front? Lift the chest and chin as you push the fist down. Soften your knees, and on the exhale, we take our forward fold. Release the hands to the earth. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Let's get our feet underneath us. And on the exhale, plant the hands. Step your right foot back, followed by the left. Optional vinyasa. Take it or skip it. This time we'll meet in downward facing dog. Curling your toes, pushing your hips back, palms gripping the mat, fingertips wide, softness behind your knees in order to get your tailbone to lift a little bit more. And then you can start thinking about making the legs a little bit straighter. Know that they don't have to be perfectly straight, and know that your heels do not have to meet your mat. Inhale, come high on the tiptoes. Keep your chest pressed in. Exhale, push your right heel down as you bend your left knee. Maybe your thigh and your belly can make a connection. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, take it to the opposite side. Walking your dog now. Alternating heels. Good. And when you feel nice and even there, we'll take both heels up one more time And exhale, heels come back and down. Inhale, right leg reaches, three-legged dog. Look forward, lift your gaze. Do not look at your foot. Do not look at the place in between your hands. Keep your gaze out over the front edge of the mat. And on the exhale, we'll draw the foot in between the hands. This time we'll stay up on the back toe. Left hand is rooted to a block or to the earth. Inhale, right arm reaches, dragonfly twist, full version. And on the exhale, we'll bring the top hand down inside of the front foot. Guess where we're going. Blocks are handy here. Maybe heel toe your foot out slightly. Inhale, find a little length in the torso. And on the exhale, you're going to straighten the front leg to your degree. Funky pyramid pose. Pull your right hip back. Inhale, let's pulse it. Bring this forward. Left hand down, right arm up all the way into your twist. And on the exhale, hand comes down inside the front foot as we straighten the front leg. If you need a little bit more, maybe you rock all the way to the heel, lifting the toes. Inhale, come forward, twist. And exhale, send it back. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, twist. And exhale, hand down, hips back. Let's hold. Continuing to breathe. If you feel a little wobbly in the back leg, the back foot, if you're on the ball of the foot and the heel is lifted, you can angle your heel into the midline, drop it down so you're at about a 45-degree angle behind you. If you've done that swivel and that drop, be very careful that your right hip hasn't popped way out. You're grounding down through the outer edge of the back foot. One more breath. Inhale. We'll start to bring this forward. Walk the hands forward as you lift your back leg. Let's leave the left hand down to the block or the earth as the right arm reaches. Revolved half moon. Exhale. Top hand comes down. As we bend the back knee, we're going to bring it forward, one-legged Tadasana balance. If you have to stop in the middle and release the toe down, that's no problem. Bring your right hand outside of the elevated knee. Sweep your left arm back, twist open. Maybe your gaze follows along to the back hands. Inhale, sweep this forward. Both hands come up. And on the exhale, send the lifted leg to the back. Hands come forward. Warrior three. Stop here in the middle. Exhale. Hands find the earth. Top foot comes to the back of the mat. Plant your hands. Front foot makes its way to the back. Here's one of those vinyasas. Take it or skip it. High to low push-up on the exhale. Inhale, find the back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Building a little heat in the body with this series. Inhale, the left leg reaches, three-legged dog. Look forward on the exhale. Do not drop your gaze as you bring the foot all the way up in between the hands. Good job, yogis. Right hand stays rooted. Inhale, left arm reaches, dragonfly twist. Exhale, top hand comes down inside of the front foot. Let's heel toe to the left to get a little space. And now we're going to send the hips back as we straighten the front leg. Remember, you can always rock to the heel. Funky pyramid pose. Inhale, we'll sweep it forward again into the twist. Exhale. Take it again. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Hips back, hands down, holding here. Remember, you can always drop that back heel if you need to. Inhale as we start to rebend the front knee, walking the hands forward. Lift your back leg. The right hand will stay down as the left arm reaches towards the ceiling, revolved half moon. Kick out through the heel. Try to get the leg as straight as you can for the lifting. Don't worry how high it is. And exhale, top hand comes down. We're going to bend the back knee as we start to bring this through. One-legged Tadasana, prayer hands come to the heart center. Left hand comes outside of the lifted knee. Right arm reaches back. Maybe train your gaze across the floor to bring your chin over the back shoulder. Inhale, we'll sweep this forward, hands come up. And on the exhale, we'll send the leg back through warrior three, hands reaching forward. And exhale, hands find the earth as the top toe comes to the back of the mat. Plant your hands, front foot makes its way to the back. Find your plank pose. This will be the last one of these. Chin towards the chest, crown of the head forward. And exhale, high to low push-up. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, everybody lower to the knees. Press your hips back, child's pose. Can you maintain a steady, smooth breath even through the heat of the practice? Inhale. Let's come up through our box pose, and we're just going to shift down to our bottoms. Okay. We're going to finish up with some nice seated stretches. We'll start with deer pose. So let's lean to the right hip. We'll draw the left knee back, and we'll draw the sole of the right foot into the left thigh. So you can see here, I've got my back foot pretty close to my body. You can let it stay parallel with the back edge of the mat if that feels okay on this hip joint. That never feels good for me, so that's why I always take a little tuck. That way I can set my hip down behind me and I get a little more support that way, and I'm not relying on this joint to hold me up. Bring your right hand behind. Inhale, left arm reaches, and on the exhale, we twist. Now you might find crow fingers back here in the hand behind you. Bring those fingers as close as you can to your hip, but still have a little leverage to balance so that you can push the spine tall. As you inhale, you're getting the length. Then as you exhale, keep the length, but you soften through the middle. Now the idea here is not to try to win some sort of a contest to look behind you. The idea is to feel the twist happening right here between your left hip and the bottom of the right rib cage. Inhale, bring this back to center. Now I'm facing you because I wanted to be able to demonstrate the posture to you, but you are facing the front of your mat. So all you're going to do is walk the hands forward, send your left leg back behind you. Let me turn around so you can see this. And then we're going to be in pigeon pose. Take a little inhale here. I like to keep sphinx arms in pigeon because when I do that, I can push into my hands and I can pull as well. When I pull, I get a little extra stretch to the hip, and then when I push, I settle it back in. So I start that way. Then when I find that really good sweet spot, I'll go ahead and bring this down into sleeping swan. Now you have blocks here. You can build little block forts underneath your forehead. You can bring a block underneath your left hip if you feel like you're rolling over to the left-hand side. Maybe you bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. Challenge yourself. 5 breaths of complete and total stillness, except for the breath. That's the only movement. Inhale. Let's start to walk this up. We'll swing the back leg around. Shift your hands behind you. Bend your knees, bring the edges of the feet to the edges of the mat, and let's windshield wiper this out. Okay, we'll take this the other way. This time it is going to be the right foot that comes back. Bring the knee a little wide. Bring the sole of the left foot into the thigh. It's your left hand that will come behind you. Your right hand will catch maybe outside of this knee or thigh. Crow fingers as you make your spine nice and tall. Inhale, and on the exhale, find a little twist. Inhale, we'll bring this back towards the front, and we'll just roll to the left as you send the right leg back. And this is what it looks like coming into our prone or forward-facing pigeon. Maybe finding forearms, finding blocks. And from there, we start to bring the forehead down. 5 breaths of complete and total stillness. Inhale. Let's start to slowly walk this up. We'll swing the back leg around. Shift the hands behind you. And windshield wiper. From here, make sure you're at a good spot on your mat. You can catch the front of the shins or maybe prayer hands to heart center for a little bit of core work. As we exhale, we're going to roll this down. Try to keep the soles of the feet flat if you're doing the core work. Bring the edges of the feet to the edges of the mat, keeping the knees bent. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. On the exhale, drop your knees to the left. Take your gaze to the right. Maybe take your left wrist with your right thumb and forefinger. Torso bend to the top right-hand corner of the mat, so you're bending away from your dropped knees. Big stretch. Take an inhale, find some length here. Push, and then on the exhale, soften. Inhale, coming back through center. On the exhale, we're simply going to take it to the opposite side, dropping your knees to the right, taking your right wrist with your left thumb and forefingers, torso bend away from the dropped knees, taking your chin and dropping it to the left shoulder. Inhale, coming back through center. And on the exhale, let's take the feet up into the sky. Catch your legs behind the thighs. We'll just draw some little figure eights, infinity symbols. Come back to center and slowly lower the feet. Walking them forward, get some space in between, let the toes fall out. Let the arms come down by side body, the palms face up. If you have a towel or a t-shirt to cover your eyes, this would be a great place to do this. For our closing posture, the most important pose of the practice, Shavasana, where we allow the body to assimilate all of the changes, to explore all of the new pathways of energy that we stimulated and opened through movement. There's nothing to think about, there's nothing to do. But rest, breathe, and let go. Take as long a Shavasana as you want or need. You can pause the video right now if you'd like to stay here on the earth. Whenever you're ready to come out of Shavasana, you'll wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers. Draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug. Rock it side to side. I'm taking this all the way into your fetal position. Staying here for a breath cycle. And inhale, starting to make our way up into a comfortable seated position. Keeping the gaze inward. Allow the palms to face up, Feeling the energy, receiving. And we'll bring the prayer hands to heart center. Thank you so much, yogis. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you again here on the mat, out in cyber world, or somewhere in between. Until that time comes, I send you with all of my light, love, and blessings. Namaste.